On today's episode of Wrong Side, a preview back into the Bears and Cowboys fresh off the bye week and a few other NFL games. A great World Series preview as the Dodgers and Yankees get ready to face off. College football update with the fans really being the biggest winners of the season. A fantastic interview with Alex Axon, Buckeye athlete and swimmer, as well as Olympian. A great conversation with him. Clutch moment of the week brought to you by Shore Metals and Outside the Line. In a world full of champions, we find ourselves on the wrong side.
Happy Wrong Side Wednesday. Welcome back, listeners. Today is October 23rd. Thank you guys for coming back. Thank you guys for listening. Great episode on deck for you today. Got a beautiful interview later with Alex Axon, Olympian from Canada, a current Ohio State swimmer who we're going to get to talk about him in the village, adjusting to Ohio State life, what it's kind of like battling a school while also trying to chase an Olympic dream. Very good interview. A lot of sports have been going on, as always. NFL, MLB, college football, NBA is even back, and NHL's already started. October best month, you think? October best month of sports?
It's up there. I mean, I'm at the moment not dead on my football team, which is unusual. I have a little bit of hope for the Bulls with Lonzo Ball being back. I don't think they're going to be good, but just like maybe at least passable and watchable. The World
Sure.
Series is on, so locked in. Actually get to have the opportunity to sit down and watch some hockey so far. So October sneaky best month for sure. Holidays
October
right around the
sneaky
corner
best
too.
month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's a good point. The sports heading into the holidays. Great point. Starting off today, we're going to go to the NFL, start there. Two games we want to talk about. Obviously, Cowboys Bears coming off the bye. So we're going to start there with our two games. And the game of the weekend, I think we should going to start with first, in my opinion, was Lions Vikings 31-29. Lions win on a last second field goal by Bates. Great story. If you guys haven't seen, was a regular worker 2 years ago, got into the USFL. Very similar to the Brandon Aubrey story. Very cool story to see. But what a game. Thoughts? Very identical game, I felt like, from both teams.
Yeah, it was actually ridiculous, and I'll pull up the team box score here in a second. But very right side me during that game. The Packers were in a pretty tough game with the Texans. They ended up pulling that one out, which was unfortunate. But the Lions Vikings was an instant classic from both teams. So right side me being peaceful on the bye week and watching some great balls. So also a little bit of wrong side in there. The Bears finally get good for the first time in my lifetime, and everyone else is
Sure.
just insane. So that kind of sucks. But pulling up the team box score here, it was incredibly similar, very scary. So total yards, a difference in 8, passing yards, a difference in 3, rushing yards, a difference in 5. I mean, you go down the list to number of drives, penalty yards, stuff like that. This game really could have gone either way. I mean, clearly these are two of the best teams in the league. There was some trickery in there, and it was really just a good NFC North slugfest. Like it wasn't a super high scoring game. 30-29 isn't a little amount of points, but it was physical. It was great to watch and an instant classic.
Yeah, I mean, the way a game started too, Vikings got up early. I thought they were kind of going to take care of business, and Detroit's a good team. I was kind of after they embarrassed Dallas the week before. I thought after they were down, I think 10-0 to start. I was like, oh man, like what the hell just happened? It didn't really matter. Montgomery got hurt. He came back in. He did have a fumble late in the game that was costly, but Gibbs was just as good. Jared Goff was phenomenal, probably in the top 3 of MVP voting in my opinion right now. And the defense showed up. The defense played its heart out, especially without Aiden Hutchinson. Something to very much monitor, I think, moving forward. But those were two good teams. I think that is unfortunately the sad truth where the Bears are very good for the first time in your lifetime. And every team is 5-2, 4-2. Like every team
Oh
is
yeah.
right in the thick of things. I saw today, I'm pretty sure almost every NFC North team is in a playoff spot right now. So definitely the toughest division right now. And you said it today in a group chat, but maybe a little more respect on the NFC's name. I think there are some
Please.
good teams in the NFC. The AFC obviously has taken the toll over the last couple years, I think, with Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, etc. Even Houston, they're a young team, but that's a good division. The Cowboys have the Commanders in their division who are good, and Cowboys were good last year. I mean, there's a sneaky good NFC there. So something to monitor, but yeah, Lions. I would go out almost as far as say they're a top 2 team in football, probably behind the Chiefs.
I truly believe that. And something that came out last year after their playoff loss, which was really heartbreaking, was it's very hard to get there. I mean, obviously Detroit has not been a super successful franchise in our lifetime or even before. And even some of the players afterwards had said, like, it's not as easy to reload as some of these teams think. Like, they genuinely didn't know if they'd be back in an NFC championship game conversation. But just goes to show you how great Dan Campbell has been, just continuing to get everyone to buy in. I mean, they look right up there very confidently, I think, the second best team. But they will continue to live and die by Dan Campbell. I think he is getting smarter, but we saw in the Bucks game, like, yeah, you want to be aggressive and go for it, especially in big games against a great team like the Vikings. But we're going to see if it comes to the playoffs when he's facing obviously great coaching as well, which he was with Kevin O'Connell, if that aggressive nature pays off or gets him in trouble once again.
Agreed. Yeah, they've lived and died by it. He said it last year when it didn't work out against San Francisco. We've gotten this far with it. And I don't really even think he's really adjusted much this year. He said, we're going to keep going this way until it really fails us. We're going to keep going. So him and Ben Johnson, they work well together. Ben Johnson probably still number one on my list for the Cowboys head coach next year if they do fire McCarthy. So definitely something to monitor. He's very smart. The way he schemes, it's very impressive in my opinion. Looking ahead now to this upcoming week, 2 games of the weekend we're going to look at moving forward. Cowboys-Niners and Bears-Commanders. Cowboys-Niners, in my opinion, is Sunday Night Football. And in the past couple of years, I would say this was going to be a great Sunday Night Football game. It usually is. There is about a one-score game. The playoffs have had some good games with some mistakes, obviously, from the Dallas side. But this should be on the History Channel, I said this week. No Ayuk, no CMC, maybe no Kittle and Debo, potentially no Micah, 5 more defensive starters on the Cowboys out, maybe no DeBron Bland. We're still not sure if he's coming back. It's gonna be a chance for, I think, Brock and Dak to both show who they are. I think Brock gets a lot of hate because he plays on the Avengers and he has all these weapons and yada yada yada, and that happens. But the last couple of games without them, he's looked average at best.
Yeah.
Dak, on the other hand, he does still have CD, and that is great. But outside of that, they still have no run game. They still have no other weapons. The defense is putrid. One of them, Dak or Brock, is going to have to come out and make plays when it matters most. And it's a different game than the last few matchups. Cowboys 3-3, Niners 3-4. Something to monitor there. It's definitely not a team. I mean, Niners lose this game. They're 3-5. They're in a little bit of a hole moving forward, especially with how we just said how good the NFC is. And it's going to be something to watch. I don't know. I think the Cowboys are the underdog in this game. I don't know what the official line is looking ahead, but it's going to be tough. I think this is a tough game for Cowboys. I think it potentially is a get-back game for both teams, though.
Yeah, one of the ugliest must-wins I can think of in a long time. I'm dubbing it a must-win personally, but both teams not really at full strength on both sides of the ball. It's going to be a slugfest. We'll see if both of these teams decide to kind of take it into the trenches and run the ball a little bit more, control the clock, take some of that pressure off of these younger receivers, these newer receivers who don't have that rapport with the quarterback, or if you're going to put the ball in Dak's hands and ask him to be Superman once again. I wouldn't be shocked to see Dak really airing it out to CD. CD anytime touchdown scorer could be a lot considering he's one of the only stars in this game. But I'm worried. I think it'll really go to show what kind of Mike McCarthy's headspace is heading into a game this big. Obviously, it's still 2 of the biggest brands in football, but with both teams being as banged up as they are, it's really going to be about like limiting mistakes. It's guys that haven't necessarily practiced with the ones and things like that. So it could be a mistake-ridden game with a lot of these newer guys out there. So we'll see if these coaches want to be aggressive and try and maybe get a jump out early or if they're going to be slow and methodical with it.
Yeah, 100% agree. My player to watch, obviously, both sides of the ball. I think he gets his respect, obviously, but in my opinion, one of the top 15 players in the league overall is Fred Warner. He always seems to make a play against the Cowboys. He always seems to find the nose in the ball. He's great against tight ends. Something to monitor there, in my opinion. Fred Warner always finds a way against Dak. He plays well. He goes out in coverage on CD. He goes out in coverage against Ferguson. He plays the run well. Very good player. Really like watching him play. Definitely one of my unfortunately, they say like I don't like the Niners, but one of my favorite Niners, I would say, in the game. I just think I don't know. I really appreciate the way he plays the game, and he always plays hard. And I feel like he is kind of hidden between all the other Avengers on that team, that he doesn't get the same amount of love, but something to monitor there. That he's the player to watch, in my opinion. Shifting gears now to Washington, we have the game of the season probably for the Bears so far. It's at Washington, right?
Correct.
Bears at Washington, Caleb versus Jaden, 1 versus 2. Usually we get one of these games once a year after a 1 versus 2 quarterback pick, and we're going to get it now here in week 8. So looking forward to that. What are our thoughts heading into it? I have some stuff, but what obviously kicking it off, what do you think?
I think it's a big can't lose. As we just saw with the Lions and Vikings, I'm not putting it as a must win because it's very difficult to win in this league. You could have a fantastic offensive performance. You could only get outgained by 4 or 5 yards and still end up losing. So I'm firmly not hitting the panic button if we do end up losing, but it has to be the right way. It's a can't lose for Matt Eberflus. It's a can't lose for Shane Waldron, people who have kind of been under fire early to start the year in Chicago. If really the coaching staff in Washington is not much longer tenured than the Chicago coaching staff, but they have had more success.
Sure.
Bieniemy, obviously a legend with Kansas City. Is he even still with the
No, he's
team?
not there anymore. No,
Dan
no,
Quinn,
it's Dan Quinn's
obvious.
the head coach, and the offensive coordinator is Cliff.
Yes, and Cliff has Jaden Daniels firing. Jaden Daniels may be ducking smoke. We're not 100% sure if he's going to play, which obviously changes the implication of this game. But there's some talented coaches on the Washington side, and I still am not convinced for the Chicago coaches. So if we lose and everything looks good and it comes down to a field goal or something like that, that's just good versus good. If we come out and we have mental mistakes, penalties like that, this is our first big game. Jaden Daniels in Washington, they haven't beat many insane teams either, but the criticism of the Bears have been they could only beat bad teams. My friends and I said last week, the Jaguars, the old Bears would have lost that game. The Jaguars are not a well-run franchise or team, but the Bears haven't been either for the last handful of years. So even though the Jaguars are still talented, even if they're not run exactly super well, and it's kind of the same thing with the Commanders. So if we're ready to kind of rise to the occasion and lock in for this game, or are we going to see the other side of it where there's going to be penalties and turnovers and undiscipline? I really do trust Caleb to shine when the lights are brightest at 3:25 p.m. But it'll be tough. I think it's going to be a very important game. This is the first Bears game I've been really excited for in quite some time, so I'm pumped.
Yeah. Incredible game coming up. The kind of my takeaways looking ahead to it is I want to know who's for real. I want to know who's fake. In my opinion, personally, neither team has showed me much this year outside of growth from a rookie quarterback. The Bears are 4-2 this year. Their wins against teams, the opponents' records of their wins are 6-20. The losses are 9-5. You look on the other side of the ball, the Commanders, their wins are against teams that are 9-25 total and losses 8-4. Neither team has a win against a team with a winning record, so I really want to see that happen. This is obviously one team will get a win here. Hopefully, I hope there's no tie, but one team will get a win here with a winning record. In my opinion, I think it's going to be the advantage in my sense to the Bears. I think the Bears have a better defense in my opinion. I think that does matter along with teams that obviously I just told you their records of the opponents they've played. They really haven't played many teams with great defenses. No defense has really stepped up to the caliber. I think this is going to be a true test for Jaden. I'm sorry. The Bears are a great defense. I think they are a very good defense. I think Caleb definitely is getting better. He's throwing the ball well, but I still think it's a defensive led team. I don't think the offense is perfect. On the other side of the ball, I think the offense is humming very well for Washington, and I think their defense is getting slightly better, but they have struggled against Lamar and Baker. They've had their losses. So in my opinion, I do think the edge goes to Chicago, but I'm very interested to see which team battles back and which team powers through. This is a first test for both of them, and I hope Jaden does play. I know the rib injury is week to week or day to day, they said, but I really do hope he plays.
Yeah, 100%. I think something to watch there is going to be turnovers for sure. These young rookies are definitely hearing the noise as well. So both are really going to be trying to make plays. We've seen Caleb have some problems early in the season with turnovers, not so much from Jaden. The criticism on Jaden has been Cliff Kingsbury is running a college offense. He's a one read guy, obviously a stud athlete, maybe kind of hampered by that injury. But for rookie quarterbacks, the game of football is about limiting mistakes on a stage like this. That's got to be extra highlighted. I agree with you. And with that, the defense is definitely an edge for the Bears, and that is kind of why I put a lot of this on Matt Eberflus. He's looked foolish at times with some of his challenges and head coaching decisions, but he has the defense humming. He has been really, really good, I think, at second half adjustments. So even if Washington offense starts out hot, Cliff Kingsbury is a great offensive mind and coach. Hoping that the defense can kind of buckle down. They've been good. We had some injuries in London. Looks like we're getting some health back in the secondary, but we'll see. Going to be a great game.
Definitely agree. Great game to look forward to. One of the better games coming up this weekend. Shifting gears now to a different sport before we end with college football before our interview. The World Series is here. I know a lot of our friends are hurt. I know the Mets are out. I know the Guardians lost. I know a lot of people are mad. I'm mad. I wanted the Guardians to win. I wanted the Mets to win.
Yeah.
I definitely did not want New York versus LA. But on the other side of things, as a fan of baseball for a long time, I'm very excited we're getting LA versus New York. I think this is great for the sport. I think a lot of people are going to be watching, not only regular fans, but international fans. Everybody's going to have their eyes on this series. It's the two biggest brands in baseball. It's West versus East. It's a great matchup. The first World Series between them since 1981, the 12th
Wow.
World Series between them as well. And I'm very excited. I think it's going to be great for the sport. They've done, we make fun every year. They market certain players a certain way, and this is the year they've marketed the right way for these type of players. You have Juan Soto, you have Aaron Judge, you have Garrett Cole, you had on the other side, you have Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, Yamamoto. You have all these guys, so many stars, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be one of the more watched World Series in a while.
1,000,000%. Going to be, it's two of the Titans, like you said, the most historic, well-known franchises in baseball. Twitter said big day for guys who have bought a cool hat once. So everyone's got an LA or a New
Yeah, I
York
saw
Yankee
that.
hat.
I did see that.
Also, a big series for Cowboys fans. So I know your heart is
Yes.
probably torn on which team to root for. But
Yes.
there's a lot to look into here. I know I'm not a huge seam head, so I'll ask just a couple questions that I have. First, my mind immediately goes to one of my favorite sports cities in the country, Boston. So Boston Celtics hate the Lakers. A lot of rivalry between Boston and LA as well as probably the most historic baseball rivalry there is, Red Sox versus Yankees. So in as everyone said, a lot of people didn't want to see Yankees versus Dodgers happen, probably least of all Boston fans. So
Right.
as a baseball knower, who is the city of Boston rooting for in this World Series?
I I want to think they're rooting for LA. I think their sports. I mean, I think because it's baseball. It's so different to say like, oh, I don't like LA because of the Lakers. Like, it's a little different. I feel like, but I think it definitely would be the Dodgers. I think they're rooting for the Dodgers. They don't want you would never
Okay.
want your rival to win. For example, like same division, same. You don't want the Packers or that's still your conference. That's still your division, etc. So I think Boston would root for the Dodgers, in my opinion.
They probably, like the rest of the country, are probably rooting for the stadium to explode. Speaking of the stadium,
Definitely. Boston already beat LA too already in the World Series a couple years ago. So they've had their
oh,
juice against them.
okay, respect. From a stadium perspective, they talk about travel a lot in sports, the distance you got to go. This is probably one of the furthest possible. So another thing you want to highlight is Yankee Stadium. Shohei Ohtani, is he going to be a cheat code in this series due to the short porch in Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a concern in my opinion. It's a fly out to right field and it's gone, and he was
Hmm.
hitting some balls in Shea that were crushed. I think that is even not even Shohei, Freddie as well. Freddie can hit, and Mookie, who played most of his career before he came to LA in Boston, has had the experience playing at that stadium. So players that know how to do it. It's going to be very fascinating. I think it's definitely. I'm glad. I guess the Yankees have 3 at home, not 4, because I would hate to see Shohei play 4 games there. It's a fucking short
Yeah.
porch to right field, but yeah, it's definitely the travel and the stadiums are definitely going to play a factor. I bet New York probably gets there tomorrow or Wednesday and gets a practice day in Wednesday or Thursday. And game starts on Friday, and then Friday, Saturday are game 1 and 2. Sunday they're traveling back to New York. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday back to LA. So or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is back in New York. So should be interesting. It's going to be a great series. 2012. Last time was 2 MVPs played against each other in the World Series in the same year. It was Miguel Cabrera versus Buster Posey. I think we're going to
Okay.
get that again, most likely. I think we'll get Shohei versus Judge, probably the MVPs this year. Um, the way I'm looking at it, limited left-handed pitching for LA is going to struggle. I think New York hits right-handers well. They're playing well. Both teams have lethal lineups. I'm really not sure which pitching staff is going to prevail. I think New York has a slight edge. LA is the betting favorite.
Okay.
I'm definitely not rooting for LA because I don't want Shohei to win in year 1 because I'm already going to be in hell if he wins in year 1. But
Yes.
I think it's gonna be a good game. I think there's 2 things for New York that needs to happen. Aaron Judge needs to wake up. He's been
For
miserable in the
sure.
playoffs.
Hmm.
Number 2, I think a sneaky underrated player in the series is going to be Jazz Chisholm. Jazz hasn't had a great success this postseason, but Jazz played for Miami for a long time. Played very well against the Dodgers in his time against LA. So I think Jazz might be a small key to the series for New York.
Should be interesting. I think Jazz Chisholm, he's been very exciting for them this year, so it should be interesting to see if he can rise on the biggest stage. Who's someone that maybe is a little more slept on the Avengers? Who is the player to watch on the Dodgers that could be integral for them to win the series?
I think it's the NLCS MVP. Tommy Edman was incredible in that series. He played well. Andrew Friedman traded a bag of chips for him and Michael Kopech from the White Sox, and he was phenomenal. I think he had 8 or 9 hits in that series. He had a home run in Game 6. He was phenomenal. He's one player to watch. I think if he stays hot, they're going to keep playing well. Freddie's ankle is probably going to be healed up by then. I know he's been banged up, but something to monitor there. From the pitching side of things for the Dodgers, I think something to watch is their bullpen. They have had bullpen games. They're probably going to have another bullpen game in this series. How will Flaherty pitch? He had a horrible second start in that series. How will Yamamoto pitch? He had an okay start. So I think Edman is definitely my guy to watch for the Dodgers, and for New York, I think it's Jazz Chisholm. Both players have a chance to make a change in this series.
Should be a hell of a series. Looking forward to it. Going to buy a lot of hats off of this one, so will be interesting.
There you go.
Ready to talk some college football?
Yeah, let's wrap it up with college football. Not the biggest weekend this past weekend, but 2 big games. The SEC continues to beat up on each other. Tennessee 24, Bama 17, a huge win in Knoxville. And Georgia walks into Austin, and UT gets their first taste of SEC football. Georgia wins 30-15. 2 big games, a lot of different storylines. What were your thoughts? I'll start here. Thoughts A, on DeBoer, second loss. First time before November, Alabama's had 2 losses since 2007.
Jesus.
And Georgia UT, the story of the game, I thought, was going for a spark with Arch. Those were my 2 stories of the game.
Crazy. I was on the wrong side of both of those. I really thought the favorites were going to win, that Texas was going to be the dominant team in college football this year, and Alabama was going to get right. Unfortunately, financially speaking, I was very wrong in both of those games. But for Alabama, I think there's true cause for concern. It's really highlighted by that one play that's been going viral on Twitter. They ran like a short yardage handoff, and the 2 receivers on the far outside, completely unrelated to the play, like really wouldn't have had an impact one way or another, but they both hit like a step back jump shot, just like random little celebration on a 3rd or a 4th and short that they didn't end up getting. And that was like, everyone is making a big deal highlighting that Kalen DeBoer's program is soft. It is not the Alabama it once was with Nick Saban. And though on that specific play, they may not have affected anything no matter what they did because they were so far on the outsides, they wouldn't have gotten to an inside run regardless. I think it's kind of true. They've been giving up a lot of big plays. There's been a lot more jawing and a lot less just the machine of Alabama football seems to be kind of gone. Losing 2 games that I think you're expected to win every game in Tuscaloosa, but 2 big games, usually Bama teams rise to that occasion. They do everything the right way. Now they got players dancing in close games. Like they just can't figure it out. I still think Jalen Milroe is one of the best players in the country, but it's a team sport. Their secondary does not look great. Tennessee, obviously, is a team that throws the ball deep a lot, and they were able to get it done. So Bama, I think there's true cause for concern, as well as losing recruits to the transfer portal and just decommitting with the loss of Nick Saban. The SEC is great, and it's really hard to fall behind a step, and I think Alabama is worrisome there.
Yeah, hit it on the nose, in my opinion. Bama 2 losses to me is crazy this early in the year. It just doesn't feel right at the end of the day, in my opinion. But at this point in time, they are in trouble, I think. They don't have – I know they have Auburn left at the end of the year, but let me see their schedule real quick. They have Mizzou this weekend, and they have LSU both on the road. So it's not like their schedule eases up very quickly, something to monitor there. On the other side of things with Georgia UT, incredible performance by Georgia, really knocked them out. UT's a mess. I guess thinking back now, as football has gone on, the Michigan win maybe is not as impressive as we thought it was at the time. They did come into Michigan's house. They did beat them. They did dominate. But looking since then, it's been okay. It's been the Arch show for a couple weeks against bad teams. And they played okay against Oklahoma, I thought, but not incredibly well. This was a disaster. Quinn looked horrible the first quarter. They go to Arch in the second quarter, try to get a spark. He gets nothing. Arch, unfortunately, has the Eli Manning face as they were relieving him.
Yeah.
And they look awful. They lose 30-15. They have a chance. But what a moment in that game with the fans. Throwing the beer bottles onto the field. Incredible. Maybe Ohio State fans should have been throwing beer bottles on Oregon's field and we got our bad pass interference. But I don't know. That was incredible to me. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that was happening in a game.
I know. And I don't want to overreact for Texas here because obviously Georgia is one of the most they've two-time national champions, like one of the most insane teams in the country. Kirby has let it be known that this is kind of his league now. So this is a great
Right.
team that just beat Texas, but you cannot be like more upset as a Texas fan to not only see like Quinn look like shit, but then to have Arch in and be like, okay, there really is no answer. Like they just end of the day, like they just got smoked. So
Yeah.
on one hand, it's not so bad, but on the other hand, you just showed the rest of the world and the rest of college football that both of these guys can be beat. Like both these guys can be beat at the
Yeah,
same time. I don't know if Kirby
definitely.
may have been expecting a substitution at quarterback. I think that's a really bold move by Sarkisian in Texas, but I it's not a detrimental game. I think they're still number 3 or 4 in the we're number 4 in the poll, so I think they're number 3 in the polls.
Yeah.
But the way they got beat is something. So they are not
Worrisome.
as good. Yeah, worrisome. So they're not as good as maybe people were thinking. There truly is parity in college football. There's a ton of teams that can go out and get it any single Saturday that you can pick. So things got shaken up. I thought favorites were going to rise to the top this week, and that did not happen. So better college football to
Yeah.
come, which we'll get into here. But it was crazy to me.
Yeah, big couple games coming up this weekend, especially two more huge SEC games. Mizzou at Bama. If Bama can come out and show out the real team they are, in my opinion, Mizzou should have 2 losses, which then becomes another team in the SEC with 2 losses. That's a good team. LSU and A&M both have turned their season around since opening week losses against Notre Dame and USC. Both have 1 loss now. It's going to be a 13 versus 8. I think they're both ranked matchup. That should be a game to watch as well. And before we get to OSU, a sneaky important Big Ten game going on this week. Illinois at Oregon. Illinois has already lost to Penn State. Obviously, Oregon is undefeated. If Illinois comes in and beats Oregon and Oregon has a loss, Illinois has a chance to win out on the rest of their schedule and really, really put a damper on Ohio State's season. So I think, in my opinion, we have to root for Oregon here. I think the best case scenario is Oregon winning because we do control our own destiny with Nebraska and Penn State and Indiana coming up before Michigan. So definitely have to, I think, root for Oregon. At the end of the day, though, Nebraska at OSU, it's a morning game or a noon game, I guess. Noon game at the shoe. Should be a good one. The Joey Maddie Bowl with siblings, Joey Maddie Bowl. Ohio State has to come out firing. They have to come out firing, looking good. This is a chance for them to show they've changed. I'm not saying Nebraska's the best team in the world, but you want to see something less than 14 points from the defense, maybe a couple turnovers. Let's keep the offense rolling. Personally, if I'm Ryan Day, if I'm Brian Hartline, I want to crush Nebraska, not because of Matt Rule, not because of a bad beef, but because of Dylan Raiola. He was committed to you and then committed to Georgia and then committed to Nebraska. I want to beat him to say, hey, look what you missed out on, kid. So personally, I hope that's what Hartline and Day do. But that's going to be it's a obviously must win. We're must win for the rest of the season. But I would like
Yeah.
to see a lot of change on that defense. Turnovers, sacks. I mentioned to you last week, Purdue played Oregon Friday night. Purdue had 1 pick on Oregon. Purdue had 2 sacks on Oregon. We had 0 of both categories. So would like to see something change there.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I think you hit it on the head. A lot of things I think Nebraska does well is like the true building blocks of the Big Ten. They run the ball well. They play good defense. They stop the run well. So, though I think we definitely have an edge on them, and I think I would guess we are large favorites in that game, and I'm not exactly worried. There's still a lot of opportunity for the defense to show improvement here. If they can stop the run, if they can get to the quarterback, I'm not saying Dylan Raiola is going to light us up. He may, but if we can't get a sack on Nebraska and Dylan Raiola, all of the problems that we have overreacted about for the last 7 days are even worse than we thought. So it's
Agreed.
extremely important for us to come out firing and for the defense to show up. So I am a little nervous. I very much Ohio State football is unfortunately probably one of the top 3 things I care about in life. So I get particularly upset when we don't do well. And this weekend, I am probably going to be watching the game. I'll be talking to my sister, who is currently at the University of Nebraska. My girlfriend went there. One of my best friends went there. One of my other best friends went there. And obviously, my mom will be impartial. Even though she's a big Buckeye fan usually, she'll be impartial, and my dad hates Ohio State. So I need to be on my
Perfect.
P's and Q's on Saturday, as the Buckeyes do. So it'll be a stressful scenario for me. Regarding the rest of the games, I think you hit it on the head. I love watching the SEC beat up on each other. So, and hopefully we don't get screwed by Illinois. So, like we've said with the 12-team playoff, it only makes for better, more important football, more games being more important throughout the season. So, unfortunately, we're one of those teams with 1 losses that is fighting every single week for our spot. But I do love college football, so it's amazing. I think Ohio State will be important this week.
Yeah, Ohio State's important, and we won. The college football fans won. Great year for the 12-team playoff. It continues to surprise us. The sport rocks. I know in a future week we're going to talk about maybe the new TV deal that you sent me last week. I don't think we have time today, but definitely something to talk about there. Looking ahead, though, we have a great interview coming up. Alex Axon, Ohio State current student, current swimmer. He went to the Olympics this year, went to Paris, got to hear about that experience, hear about the village, hear about the beds, got to see his rings that he has tatted on his arms. Great interview, very educated kid, very respectful guy, 21 years old, incredible athlete, bright future. Now we're going to kick it to you with our interview with Alex.
Our clutch moment of the week is brought to you by Shore Metals, serving Southern California since 1970. Big enough to serve you and small enough to know you. See Stan, he'll help you out. Michael, who is your clutch moment of the week this week?
My clutch moment of the week goes out to Steve Spagnuolo. The man continues to be a wizard for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have not been playing good offense. Patrick Mahomes has not been himself, more interceptions than touchdowns, but the defense continues to dominate. Patrick Mahomes has officially entered his Tom Brady arc of average weapons and elite defense. Spagnuolo continues to show his skill. Definitely not a guy who will probably be a head coach again. He's getting up there, likes being at DC, but he's my clutch moment of the week. He beat San Francisco, not Patrick Mahomes.
1,000,000%. He's insane. They're totally a defensive team, and I hate to say that. The Chiefs are inevitable forever. Tom Brady's record of Super Bowl rings is definitely in jeopardy with that. As a Patrick Mahomes fantasy football owner, I'm pretty pissed off about it, but he's just got him firing. He owns every single team in the league. I think one of the smartest things Andy Reid has ever done is hitching his wagon to Steve Spagnuolo. They were together in Philly. They're killing it in Kansas City, a great complementary coaching duo. So insane clutch moment of the week.
Definitely agree. He's firing. Defense looks awesome. Chiefs are on fire. Clutch moment of the week. How about you?
Mine is a little more humble of a decision. My clutch moment of the week goes out to myself. Yeah, so I'm kind of the coolest person on the planet, and here's why. Saturday night, we like to end the night at a little place called Trader Todd's right on Sheffield and Belmont, right down the street from my apartment. It's a well-known karaoke bar. I'm a man of the people. I'm hyping up the people on the stage. You never boo. They yelled at us for 4th Street in Columbus for booing people singing karaoke. But the night was winding down, and a gentleman gets up on the stage. We were sitting like right in front. My whole friend group was hyping up the karaoke people, and he starts going into Mockingbird by Eminem. First of all, anyone choosing to do an Eminem song at karaoke, like there's kind of a problem. Trouble, pretty red flag, but you definitely like have to be confident that you're going to kill it if you're going to choose that song.
But and you better know all the words. I would say you have to know all the words.
I would say you have to know all the words. You have to be ready to go, but also like it's just like a horrible karaoke choice. So I don't like it to begin with. This person, I don't think chose this song for themselves because they did not know the words at all. To the point where they were like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm getting off the stage. Me, I wanted to finish it out. I had to see it through. So I said, no. In the front row, no. Hand me the microphone. So I took the microphone from him, and I kind of got retribution because I killed it. I knew all the words. That's the only reason I took the microphone is because I knew all the words. But I killed it. My friends didn't know I could rap, but I could definitely rap. And I actually got to show off those skills and didn't have to pick the song for karaoke. So I felt vindication off of that. So my clutch moment of the week goes out to my rap skills and my outfit on Saturday night.
Yeah, it was a fire fit. I saw the video. Maybe we'll post it on the Instagram. So clutch moment of the week. And Slim Joey and Steve Spags. Now to Outside the Line. Wrapping up now with Outside the Line and starting off with Tone Deaf Person of the Week. Who do you got?
Star Chicago Sky player Angel Reese. I got a bone to pick with her this week. Obviously, she has been in the news and been a controversial figure this year in the WNBA, but this week she just took it too far for my liking. First, there was the video that came out that said the WNBA doesn't cover her $8,000 apartment. I can't
I
afford where I
saw
live
that.
either. Angel Reese, we can get together and talk about it if you'd like. So maybe we just need to like get a financial planner. Like maybe the WNBA can like cover
Sure.
that or something, or like maybe live in a cheaper place. That I think was completely ridiculous. Even worse, something that grinds my gears even more. The WNBA finals concluded yesterday. We're recording this on Monday. So Sunday night was game 5. The winner take all series. The WNBA finals is only a 5-game series. The New York Liberty was able to eke it out and outlast the Minnesota Lynx. But Angel Reese was in attendance for multiple games in New York. And this may be a really hot take here. But she wants to be a celebrity way more than she wants to be a basketball player. I think she's kind of angling
Ooh.
herself in that way. I don't think it's any secret that she isn't the most talented offensive force there is. Her rebounding, though it is impressive, it is some stat padding, but they even said if they took her out in like garbage time minutes that she would be a very impressive rebounder. She's got this podcast, she's jet setting around the world, and we clearly know that she doesn't make that celebrity money in the WNBA, so she's trying to maybe get that bag a couple other ways, and she kind of took it too far for me. Get back in the gym, win a ring. If you're really a hooper, win a ring. Get in the gym. Kobe would be in the gym, and don't be a. She was wearing a Lynx Liberty like
Yeah.
split top. You play the sport, like you're not just there.
Yeah.
She was grinding my gears this week, so that was my tone deaf person of the week. How about you?
That was the problem I was upset with her was the wearing 2 different teams in the NBA finals jerseys. Like I know she was trying to get the outfit. It's just ridiculous. You're in the same league. You rarely see other NBA players rocking other NBA players jersey other than old players, unless they're like older players. That's when you see it in any sport really. But kind of ridiculous in my opinion. You can wear whatever you want to the games. I just felt like the 2 teams that are playing, like
Weird.
I just
She's
didn't
a
like that.
competitor. She's
Yeah,
shown
yeah.
competitive
She's
fire
a
at
very
many
she's a
different
huge
levels.
competitor. Yeah.
So I didn't get that at all. I didn't like it.
Yeah, that's a really weird. It was a really weird outfit, really weird take on her appearance at the game. I agree with that. It's she can do whatever she wants, but it was she's always a rival to CC. She always plays so hard, and you wearing 2 different teams jerseys. It's like that's weird.
What are your
So
folks done? Mm-hmm.
agreed. My tone deaf person of the week are the people who believe that the Donald Trump at McDonald's was not staged. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble. I know that flyer was going around that they closed the store. You're dumb if you believe that it wasn't closed for that. Like you're dumb. When you think all these presidential candidates and senators and governors, you think when they go into local diners, those aren't set up. You think when they're going into barbershops, they're not set up. You think when they're going to the park, it's not set up. Those are all staged moments. Everything is staged. They have to, it's a campaign. You can't, if people did it in high school, middle school, you had your own student president or student council. You had a campaign yourself. You wanted to make yourself look good. People are dumb. The people that believe that Trump just was there, no cameras, surprise. Like this was talked about 2 weeks ago. They mentioned that he was going to go do this. And unfortunately for Trump, if he does lose this election, he's going to have some unfortunate put the fries in the bag beams.
That's going to be really bad.
It's unfortunate for him. So yeah, so tone deaf. People that believe that was like, oh, I can't believe this was staged. How do you not believe it? Like,
I'm not going to lie. I wasn't really on that narrative of whether or not it was staged. I just thought it was funny. But
it's super funny.
I don't really watch news like that. The put the fries in the bag memes are going to be very brutal if he loses, but I just thought it was funny. So I didn't know it was staged until right now.
I saw there was this one. He had like, when you have like a painter, like a roller, so it was him. It was like a fake meme, but it was like him using a roller and he was rolling out the MC in McDonald's and it was Donald's with the arches. And that was a good one. I really enjoyed that one, but it was all over my feed. And then he was at the Steelers game versus the Jets, and
that was wild.
AB and him were hanging out, and Le'Veon Bell was hanging out. I mean, what a team that was. But wrapping up now, wrong side, right side. What do you got?
I'll start with my right side for now. So we're recording this on Monday night. As I've talked about in a few previous episodes, I got a lot going on in my life, preparing for a new job, recent passing away of a family member. It's been very stressful. Something that I kind of kept under wraps a little bit more. I think I had a concussion. I say I think because I've never had a concussion in my life. As a high school football player, you don't say the C word. As a 23-year-old in men's league lacrosse, there are
You
bigger
say the
things.
C word.
There are bigger things than getting out there on a Tuesday night when it's 45 degrees and rainy. So I wasn't sure I had a concussion. I'm still not 100% sure, but this week I'm feeling insanely more smart and mentally acute than I did last
Wow.
week when I may or may not have potentially possibly had a concussion. So I'm very, very right side and happy that my brain works again. Though I don't even think it was just last week. I think my brain hasn't worked for a couple months, maybe a couple of
Oh,
years. But I feel back right now. Like I'm me. It's me again. My clutch moment and my right side are both me because I'm back. And may have had a concussion. So that's
wow.
my right side.
The Joey Show. I love that. Yeah. Wow. My right side, um, the pain and misery continues into a different sport. The Lakers tip off Tuesday night. Ant, the young goat, comes into LA to play
My dog.
LeBron. I'll be at the office tomorrow, but I think tip off is 7. Maybe that first game of the Celtics can maybe just go into that 7 o'clock start a little. Just give me a little more time to get home. But Lakers T-Wolves tip off. I still love watching the Lakers. It's fun. Obviously, it's a lot of games. I know people don't like that, but I love it. Basketball, I know, is very tough to watch, especially in the middle of the season. I get that, but
Yeah.
it's fun. And Ant's exciting. He's a great, passing the torch. We've gotten into that over time, and we'll talk more basketball as football wraps up. But I am excited. Can't take too many LeBron games for granted at this point in his career. Dalton
Yeah.
Neck, he looks awesome. Young
Mhm.
rookie out of Tennessee. I'm excited to watch him. And tomorrow we'll get our first Bronny LeBron moment at one point in the game. I saw the Griffies are going to be there, Griffey Senior and
Mhm.
Griffey Junior. So pretty cool to see. So that's my right side. Lakers are back. Wrong
Yeah.
side though.
Mhm.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I
I
was
didn't
going
mean
to
to
say,
cut
I'm excited about basketball. The Bulls might not be
Yeah,
good, and we might be really tired of it in a month once regular season woes
sure.
kind of kick in. But basketball's fun. I think my Anthony Edwards take was one of my best age takes of all time.
Yeah.
It may have been one of my most right side moments ever. So I'm excited for the season to kick off.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of good ball we played, some good players in new places. I know Bino thinks it's the year for Philly, so we'll have to see there.
I'm in on
My
that. I'm
right
so in
side,
on that.
my right side, though, unfortunately, is I think the Colts in the NFL are trying to ruin our weekend in Chicago in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
That being said, because week 9, which is next week, the Colts Vikings game was an afternoon game and gets flexed to Sunday Night Football. So that'll be November 4th. The November 3rd, Sunday Night
Mhm.
Football is going to be Colts Vikings. Okay. So that got flexed today, this afternoon.
Yep.
2 weeks later, I will be in Chicago for Bears Packers. That same day, Colts are supposed to be the Jets on Sunday Night Football. I don't believe that they're going to give the Colts 2 out of 3 next Sunday Night Football games in that span. I just don't buy it. Rarely happens unless you're. I hate to say it, biased, but it's the truth. Unless you're the Cowboys, that very rarely happens. Very rarely does that happen. So now the rumors have started to rumor that the Bears Packers game might get flexed from the noon slot to the Sunday Night Football slot. In my opinion, worst case scenario. My flight's at
For
8
sure.
o'clock. That game cannot get flexed at all. It can't even get flexed to the afternoon. It has to stay at 10 a.m. or noon. That would suck. Missing Bears Packers, like that's the pinnacle of the weekend. Like we're gonna wait for that on Sunday. Like hopefully getting the Ohio State game on Saturday. But like losing that game would really, really suck. So I really hope they flex something else there. There's a couple other good games. I
Mhm.
saw CBS can block and protect some games. So of course they're probably gonna block Chiefs Bills, which I really hope they don't. That's a great Sunday night game.
That'd be a great Sunday night
But
game. Yeah.
yeah, I really hope the Colts didn't ruin our weekend.
Not only the wrong side for that reason, but obviously the hype has been high for the Bears this year.
Right.
Um, I'm not ready. I have horrible memories and experiences on primetime games. So as a
Okay.
fan, I think we are best at noon. So for a number of reasons, I think it would be extremely wrong side if that game got flexed to Sunday Night Football. Obviously I would still go.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
see you later.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
that's
still go,
fine.
but the stress would be so heightened it would not even be funny. So hopefully that
No,
does not
completely
happen.
fair. Completely fair, completely understandable, but that would really ruin my weekend. So I really, really hope that does not happen. But
Yeah, that would suck a lot.
that's my wrong side. That will be story development moving forward. How about you? Wrong
Yeah.
side to wrap it up.
Wrong side. I just talked about how back I am, but I'm also kind of an idiot. So one of the downfalls of living on your own and not with your parents anymore is you have to keep your own schedule and go
Mm-hmm.
places when you say you're going to go places instead of having your mom just tell you to get ready in an hour and just be fine. So I was supposed to go to a family party on Sunday. Long story short, Saturday night got a bit out of hand, and I may have overslept and was not able to get my way out to the suburbs during the time that I wanted to do. So my mom's mad at me. I know she'll be listening, and I'll get that phone call soon
Sorry,
after
Mama
that.
Z.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was not a good look. It just got out of hand. Usually I'm very good about that. I feel bad about it. But wrong side, I'm in trouble with my mom, and I didn't see my family this weekend.
You'll make it up for them. You'll make it up for them this week, and next week you're on Nebraska. You'll make it up for
Yeah,
them.
it'll be awesome.
So that'll be huge. Thank you guys for listening. Another great episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Alex. He was awesome. Really cool insight, learning about someone from an Olympic standpoint versus a regular person standpoint that just goes to work every day. Was very cool to see. Very well matured. A lot of sports still going on. World Series starting. By the time you guys hear us next, it's going to be exciting. We're going to be going into Penn State week, so that should be a big game. Big stuff to talk about next week. Thank you guys for listening. Like, subscribe, follow us at Wrong Side Takes. Happy Wrong Side Wednesday.
Stay blessed.